Sorry, there is some technical problem. Okay. So the definition of the articulator is, it is a mechanical instrument that represents the temporomandibular joint and jaws, to which maxillary and mandibular cast may be attached to simulate some or all the mandibular movements. So in your articulator, all the movements of your jaws, it basically represents your TMJ, and it mimics all the movements of your maxillary and mandibular arches. It's try to simulate all the movements or some of the movements of your mandible. So basically, there is a vast history of your articulators. The first articulator was designed by the Philip Buff. That was in the 1756. There was a plaster articulator. Okay, it is a simple articulator which has the upper and the lower member. So the next articulator was the Bardon hinge articulator. This articulator is still used nowadays also. That is given by the Jeriot in 1805. So the next articulator was given by the Bonville on his theory of the articulators. It was given in 1858. So there are various types of articulators after that was invented, and which was not used because of some of the problems in it. So there are various types of articulators we can use for your prosthetic rehabilitation of your complete denture, fixed partial denture, or removable partial denture. Okay. So there are Hanau articulators. Now we use the Hanau articulators in our department. That can be a semi-adjustable or a fully adjustable articulator. So there are various articulators. There is a vast history of articulators. So these articulators, Hanau articulators, are nowadays used. These are the highly equipped articulators. These are the precise articulator which simulates all the movements of your mandibles in all the dimensions. The status articulator can be used for fabrication of complete denture, fixed partial denture, and removable partial denture. Or also we can use a virtual articulator. Is a recent advances. Okay. So the use and the requirement of articulator. So basically the primary purpose of your articulator to hold the cast in a proper fixed relationship. Okay. So basically it is holding a cast opposite to each other in a predetermined fixed relationship. So basically we don't have that fixed relationship. It is very difficult to do the teeth arrangement or fabrication of prosthesis. It is the primary purpose of your articulator. It should open and close. Okay. The proper opening and closing movement should be performed with the help of your articulator. If it is not permitting the movements, it is very difficult to fabricate any prosthesis with the help of articulator. So basically, the primary purpose of your articulator includes, it should produce all the border and the intra-border slide movements, which are similar to your movements which can be given into the patient's mouth. So the uses, the first and the foremost use is the diagnosis and treatment planning, and the presentation to the patient for both the natural and the artificial dentition. While telling any treatment plan to the patient, we should have articulator with you so that you will be easy to tell the patient that the treatment plan decided for you was this, and we are going to treat you in a similar fashion. So the next point is, next common use is the teaching and the studying purpose of your occlusion and the mandibular movement. It can be used to study or teach the mandibular movements and the occlusion to the trainees. The third use for your articulator is, it will help you in the fabrication of dental restorations and the lost dental tissues. So basically the most common use and the most wide use of your articulator is to fabricate any dental restorations. That is the most ideal use, and which was lost can be reproduced with the help of your articulators. Okay. So if you want to correct or modify any completed restoration, you can use an articulator. This is one of the use for it. So now what are the requirements of an articulator? What your articulator should have? The basic requirement of the articulator is it should hold your cast in a correct horizontal and the vertical positions. The positions of the cast should be in such a way that it should be a fixed position. It should have a correct horizontal and the vertical position. It should mimic the exact patient's movements, which can be given by the patient himself. So basically, in your articulation, there should be a positive vertical stop. If it is not there, we'll have the drop of the occlusion. Your articulator should accept the Facebook transfer record. Okay. It is very important to accept the Facebook transfer record. Okay. If it is not accepting the Facebook transfer record, then it is very difficult to get the orientation of the maxillary plane to the mandibular tissues. The next common requirement for your or for any articulator is the opening and the closing movement in the hinge action, and it should allow for the protrusive and the lateral movements. The protrusive movements means that your mandible should protrude or move forward in the forward direction. Lateral movement, it should move the right and the left motion. It should provide correct sorry it should provide all the movements in a such a way that your protrusive movements and the lateral movement should be recorded properly and should be replicated into the articulator. So the moving parts should be moved freely and accurately machined. It should be freely to move. All the moving parts which are present in your articulator should be properly movable and it should be accurately machined. Okay. The fixed part or the non-moving part should be rigid enough to avoid the movement of the articulator. So there should be an adequate distance between your upper and the lower member for the proper vision. Okay, if it is not there, it is very difficult to visualize the upper and lower member from the rear view. The articulator should have a stable platform while keeping it on the laboratory bench. It should not be too bulky or too heavy while operating. So these are the basic requirement for your articulator. The additional requirements include removable mounting plates can be there. It can be used for the study purposes, for the construction of the complete denture, tissue supported removable partial dentures, for the fixed partial dentures and the tooth-borne removable partial dentures. Okay, these are the basic purposes of your articulator. For the study purpose, what is the study purpose? Basically, depending upon the study and the analysis taken, the articulator should be chosen accordingly. For the complete denture, basically we should have the adjustable horizontal and the lateral condylar guidance present. We should have the adjustable incisor guidance present in a fully adjustable articulator. What should be the optional articulated requirements for your complete denture fabrication? The first one is adjustable intercondylar distance. The distance between two condyles can be adjusted. Okay, these can be adjusted in some of the articulators which are available in the market. These are very costly articulators. The second point is immediate Bennett movement should be acceptable in such cases. The Archon type of articulators basically are the advantages over the non-Archon type of articulators. So in the fixed partial denture, basically it should have the same thing, the adjustable intercondylar distance. The distance between two condyles should be adjustable. It can be adjustable. So basically the next point is the adjustable horizontal and the lateral condylar guidance. So this is the horizontal guidance which should be adjustable. So we can see the markings here. It can be adjusted depending upon the patient's requirement. So we should have the adjustable insider guidance also and the Archon type of articulators. So these are the articulators requirement. So these are the very difficult things which are not basically present in your articulator, the immediate and the progressive side shape. It is present in few of the articulators. The Denar series has this type of requirements. The provisional and the broad spin can be attached to it. The provisional for the protrusion and the retrusion movements for your records, and the acceptance of the pantographic tracing should be there. So these are the advanced requirements for your fixed partial denture cases. So basically, we'll see the advantages and the disadvantage of the same thing, that is your articulators. So the advantages of the articulator includes, the first and foremost advantages is it should provide the accurate mounted cast which will allow operator to visualize the patient's occlusion, especially from the lingual view. We can see the rear view of the patient's occlusion from the lingual side. You can see it in the diagram. This is the rear view. We can see the lingualized occlusion from the lingual side. The next advantages is So basically the patient's cooperation is not a factor when you are doing the teeth arrangement outside the patient's mouth. We should have the reduced chair time for the dentist and the patient also. So while visualizing and adjusting the occlusion, it is very easy on the articulator when compared to the patient's mouth. Visualization process and the adjusting of the occlusion is very easy on the articulator. The patient's cheek, lips, tongues, and saliva is not the factor when doing any teeth arrangement or any work in the articulator. So many articulators have provision to transfer the records to the other articulator also without changing any actual values, which can be obtained from the patients. This is one of the main advantages of the recent articulators. So basically, various modern sophisticated articulators can almost reproduce any degree of jaw movements in 3 dimensions. The definition also says that also it simulates some or all the movements. Like similarly, the articulator produces 3 dimensional rotational movement around the long axis and the horizontal axis. Now we should see the limitations of the articulator. What are the certain drawbacks or the limitations of the articulator while performing any procedure? The first limitation of the articulator is an articulator is basically a mechanical device. Any mechanical device has a error while fabrication, that means tooling, and while resulting from the fatigue and wear, continuous use of the same. So basically, your articulator also has the similar properties of the tooling and the fatigue wear errors can be seen in your articulator that can have the uh, the detrimental effects on the fabricated prosthesis. Some of the articulator does not simulate all the jaw movements. That is the partial requirement for the articulator. So based on the theory of occlusion, there is no provision for the variation, and the theoretical part is again different from the person to person. Now we see the mandibular impressions are distorted in the wide opening of the mandible. So that cannot be corrected in the articulator. It is very difficult to correct those distorted impressions or the wide opening of the mandible in the articulator. This is one of the limitation of your articulator. The next limitation is the articulator cannot detect the tooth mobility on the plaster cast. Because your articulator is rigid, your plaster cast is rigid, the mobility of the tooth cannot be simulated in the articulators. It is very difficult to simulate the same thing. Articulators does not have any provision for the detection and the correction of human errors cannot be corrected and detected by the articulator. We don't have the smart articulator still nowadays. So these are the limitation of the articulators. One of the major disadvantages of the limitation of the articulator is the resiliency of the tissues cannot be simulated in the articulators. Our tissues are compressible. These are the resilient tissues that cannot be replicated in your articulator. There will be some minor errors in the occlusion because of the same. This is also known as relief effect. Okay. Now we come to the precision, accuracy, and the sensitivity of the articulator. So basically, no instrument is effective unless it is accurate. Okay. To adjust all the records, there are areas in there will be errors in the any maxillomandibular relations, and that can be reproduced with the help of the tooth relation and the tooth movement. So basically, this is the accuracy part of the articulator. There are various procedures which can lead to the errors in the fabrication of prosthesis. The first thing was very important. There should not be any tooth related or the tooth movement error should be present in the articulator. While accuracy of recording methods and the recording material must be considered while recording any impression or any procedure, recording material procedure should be considered before selection of the articulator itself. Okay. One must analyze the procedure and the materials. These methods should be remembered while stability of the articulator is concerned for the same. The precision of the articulator plays vital role. So basically the precision is the ability of any instrument to reproduce the same results for the process which is fabricated for each and every time we use the same. Okay, the precision should be same whenever you use the same instrument. So basically, it should have the most sophisticated instruments, and it should provide the accurate recording of the relationship, and it should provide all the perfectly fabricated prosthesis. Okay. The precision of the articulators, the last 2 points of this is basically these are made up of metals, nylons, and the plastics, which can be subjected to wear and fatigue after prolonged use. So we have to change the same thing again and again for the precision of the articulator. The metal articulators are preferred due to the high degree of precision over the plastic articulator. The most important part is the sensitivity of the articulator. So it has a directly effect on the accuracy of your prosthodontic restorations. If the sensitivity of the articulator is not there, your prosthodontically performed restorations are not fit in the patient's mouth. So make sure that the sensitivity of the articulator should be there. Its ability of the articulator to accept all the records exactly as it is given by the patient's mouth. So we make sure that the record should be transferred to the articulator in such a way to get the exact values of the patients while providing the. So while using any articulator, we should follow all the instruction which was given by your manufacturer, the manufacturer of the articulator. Okay. Always read the instruction manual for this. Now the next part is the classification of the articulator. There are various classification of the articulators that can be a adjustable articulator or a non-adjustable articulator depending upon the adjustability of the articulator. It was given by the Boucher, Kingsley and the Gillies in 1926, 34 and 34. Okay, this is the basic classification depending upon the adjustability of the articulator. Next was the depending upon the position of the articulator, arbitrary positioning and the positional articulators, semi-adjustable and the fully adjustable. Poses given the same thing, the plain line articulators, mean value articulators and the adjustable articulators. These are the various types of classification given for the articulators, which was earlier used in the history. Now basically, as an overview, the classification of your articulator is divided into four categories. The first one is the classification based on the theories of the occlusion. Next is based on the simplicity of the use. So based on the types of record we use for the fabrication of prosthesis. So based on the mechanical constructions which we are constructing for the patient. And the most commonly used classification is the classification based on the instrument function, which was given in 1972 in the workshop for the computation fabrication. So based on the theory of occlusion, we divide the types of articulator into three categories. One second, we'll just take the attendance. Okay, based on the classification of theories, we divide the articulators into three categories. The first category is Bonville's articulator. The second category is conical theory articulators and the spherical theory articulators. So basically, these are the three types of theories which are based on the theories of occlusion. So the first and the foremost thing is the Bonville's theory of occlusion. So as the name indicates, it was given by the Bonville. Okay. The articulators was designed by himself. So basically, this is proposed on the teeth move in relation to each other, which was guided by the condylar controls, okay, and the incisor point. So basically, it is known as the theory of equilateral triangle, okay, which has 4-inch distance between condyle and the incisor point. So basically, so these are the condyles of your articulator, and this is the incisor point. So we have a triangle which has the 4-inch distance between your condyle and the between each condyle and the incisor point. So it was given by the Bonville. Since the condylar guidance, we cannot adjust the condylar guidance this part. Okay. So in non-adjustable articulator, so basically it can be done in the horizontal plane. Now come to the spherical theory of occlusion. So it is proposed that the lower mandibular teeth, sorry, lower teeth moves. Sorry, one second. It is proposed that they have proposed that the lower teeth moves over the surface of your upper teeth in a such a way that it forms a sphere which has the diameter of 8 inches. Okay. It is located from the glabella. Just see. Don't have a diagram. So it is located in the region of glabella. Glabella is present in between your eyebrows. Okay. We started from there. It passes through the glenoid fossa, articular eminence, and then to your lower mandibular teeth. It forms a sphere. That sphere, it has a diameter of 8 inches. It was given by Mansoor in 1918. He has made some articulators regarding the same, but which is not acceptable. Now, the last theory of occlusion, it was given by R.E. Hall. So basically, he has proposed that the lower teeth moves over the surface of your upper teeth, which forms a cone, okay, which has the angle of 45 degree, and the central axis of your cone is tipped at an angle of 45 degree to the occlusal plane. So basically, the all design the same articulator depending upon the conical theory of occlusion. The necessity for this articulator is 45-degree angulation of the cusp should be used. Depending upon the simplicity of the articulator, it can be classified into 4 categories. The first one is hinge articulator, second one is mean value, semi-adjustable articulators, fully adjustable articulators. So based on the types of record they use for their adjustment, the first one is interoccipital record can be taken by the articulator, graphic record, and the hinge axis record. Okay, these are the depending upon the types of record used for the adjustment. Depending on the mechanical construction, there can be an Archon type of articulator and the non-Archon type of articulator. These are the most commonly used articulators. These are Archon type of articulators. So the most commonly used classification is classification depending upon the use of instruments, instrument function. They have been divided into 4 categories: 1, 2, 3, 4 in 4 classes: class 1, class 2, class 3, and class 4. Okay, what is class 1? It is a simple type of articulator, simple holding instrument which is capable of accepting a single static relationship. Only vertical motion is possible. The motion is possible in this vertical dimension only. Okay. The example for the same is slab articulator and the hinge articulator, and the bar door hinge articulator can be used also. The class 2. So these are the instruments which permits horizontal as well as vertical movements. It can have the ability to perform all the horizontal movements like this and the vertical movements like this. Okay. So again, it is divided into 2 categories, 2 subcategories: 2A, 2B, and 2C. So depending upon the ability to take the eccentric motion, they have again divided into 3 categories, but it does not accept phase pose. So this is the one of the drawback of the class 2 articulators. In class 3 articulators, we have the instrument which simulates condylar pathways with using the average or mechanical equivalents for the all the parts of the motion. So basically, you use class 2 articulators for the doing your preclinical or the clinical work in the prosthodontic part. So the class 3 articulators are the again divided into 2 categories: class 3A and class 3B, depending upon the condylar pathways which can be used to average the mechanical equivalence for the movements of the same. In class 4, it accepts all the records and phase pose also, and it registers the dynamic motions of the maxilla and mandible, which can be recorded in the patient's mouth, and we can simulate the same thing into the articulator. It is divided into 2 categories again: the class 4A and class 4B. So these are the basic classifications for your articulators. Now we can see the parts of articulator. Suppose this is the semi-adjustable articulator I am showing to you. So this is the upper member. This is the lower member, incisal rod, incisal table. So this is the incisal table. Okay, this is the incisal rod. This is the incisal table. This is the mounting plate. You can see it here. This is the orbital indicator. Again here, orbital indicator. Okay, condylar guidance. Okay, same thing. So while concluding the topic, so basically we should know the articulator very well to perform any prosthetic rehabilitation of the process. You cannot successfully treat any dysfunction unless you understand the function of articulator. So this is the takeaway message for you. In next class, we will discuss about the mandibular movements. For the next, okay, we have the new batch joining in. We'll start with the complete denture for you from the next class. Today we have completed the last topic which was running for the whole batch. We'll start with the next batch for the same thing next Friday. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can text it